Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. I was clicking around the interwebs last night, reading some stuff, and there was somebody that asked about, well, they'd taken their vehicle into a dealership, and the dealership told them that the brake problem was because of failure to grease the pads. They had 3 pads that were in great shape and 1 that was worn to nothing. And the guy was on there just wondering, hey, what the heck is he talking about? Greased pads. And of course, the amount of information that came flooding out was all over the place. I'm going to show you what they mean when they say grease the pads. That does not mean put grease where it runs. It means put grease where the pad slides here, and grease on the back side of where it contacts, so that everything moves freely. Does it work? No. No, it doesn't work. I have never greased the pads on anything. What they have now is these stainless steel shims in here. Now, the reason that you end up having trouble is that rust builds up between that stainless steel shim and your bracket. That rust swells up and it squeezes down the tolerance, and then the pad can't move. What happens is, if this outside pad here gets stuck, then it stops only on the inside pad, wearing the inside pad out quicker. If the pad sticks and it won't release, because usually you can put a lot more power on them, with your foot, than just run out and tolerances have to push it back. So again, your problem was going to always end up being rust issues. The only real thing that would help that is maybe never sees or something like that, but most of the time nothing really works to prevent that rust other than using them. Keep them free by keeping them traveled. That's why the rear brakes give more trouble than the front brakes, because your front brakes are moving more all the time. All your stopping power's up there, and in the rear it moves very little. It doesn't get as hot to burn out any moisture, because there's just not as much stopping power back there. Now, here is the one that I looked at yesterday. I commented on those forums about what I saw, and I'll show you guys, because she brought the car back over. We ordered all the parts last night. She brought the car back over. She's going to get her today. What she had was kind of a creaking, grinding noise. She said it was creaking there for a while, and in the last couple of days it started grinding. Then, when she needed to do something, the noise is getting worse. It's not getting worse. The noise doesn't get worse at all. It's a different noise. That's usually what happens. Things don't get worse, they just create more problems. Now, you see this inboard pad? There's just nothing left of it. Yeah. Get the light down here. that mark on the rotor, the light's just going to shine. Anyway, there we go. That is steel on steel, and it has ruined the rotor. You can't turn rotors anymore, there's not enough of them. And as far as the grease, they're thinking that to make this pad here slide evenly in that bracket, it doesn't help if the groove is free of rust and you've got a nice shim here, it slides just fine. I mean, really. Here's what caused her problem, caused the creaking noise. You can see this slide pin here that mounts to it. You see how I can pull that out and push it in, rotate it all around. The caliper bolts to that, and it moves in and out. A very small amount. It doesn't take anything. That's part of the reason you end up having trouble with them. Well, this one here, the bottom one, nothing. So we'll put a ratchet on it. Nothing. So we'll put an impact on it. Nothing. I'll show you why. Because people will wonder, well, can't you just take it apart and, you know, grease it up? Yes, you can. Maybe. Here's what I'm going to show you. And this is why I didn't even, yesterday when she came out, I was going to try to free this slide pin. After I felt this, maybe you can hear it. That what you're hearing is rust on the inside of this rubber bushing. Let's just get this bushing off of there. See, look at that. I mean, it's horrible. If, for some reason, I was able to get that thing freed up, the way I would do it was I'd take a torch and I'd heat this up here where this pin slides down inside. I'll show you this pin. That's what it is. That's how long it is. And it goes down into a hole. Grease is slide pin grease. You put on these things and it lets them slide back and forth. Now, this rubber deal is supposed to keep moisture out of there so that it don't rust up. How'd that work? If I took a torch and heated this up and got it broke loose, because the heat will bust up the rust, get this to where it'll move around, I'd take it out, I'd clean it all off, I'd take I don't know what to call it. It's a shaft with a split in it. You put some emery cloth in it, stick it down in the hole and ream it out. And clean all the rust out of the hole, blow it out. That rust comes from somewhere. That is the top layer of steel oxidizing. So when I get the rust cleaned off of the pin and I get the rust cleaned out of the hole, the tolerance is going to be a whole lot bigger. The pin is going to flop around. So, I mean, I'll grease it all up. The heat that I put on it is going to melt this rubber grommet. They're hard to find that'll fit. I got a bin over there where I keep new ones when they come with them, but you know, there's 15 dozen different types of them, so you never have one that fits right. So it's going to get moisture back in it, which means it's going to rust again. And you have the pin loose. It's going to, every time she hits the brakes, it's going to clank, 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 and she's not going to like that. I'm going to spend an hour on it trying to fix that. New caliper and bracket, 75, 80 bucks. It's not worth it. In the big cities, that's a half hour's worth of labor. Out here, it's an hour. So why would I spend time trying to fix something that's not going to be right to begin to at the end? Just get the new part. Customer might not like the price, but it's right. So, you know, getting by just doesn't pay sometimes. But that's my 2 cents. I figured this is something I can do kind of one-handed and hold the camera and actually show you a little bit. So if you like this, let me know. Comment down there in the deals. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll share it on Facebook. You can share it on Facebook, get some exposure out there. Well, that exposure might not be a good word, because nobody wants me exposed. So we'll talk to you later.